there. This is just a little explanation of the video you're about to see. This video was actually filmed 3 weeks ago. I rendered it out, but I failed to upload it to YouTube. And so now I am just catching up. So again, this video is 3 weeks old. The following 2 weeks, there are no videos for. Both weeks were a complete bust when it came to working. 2 weeks ago, we worked on vinyl for the back box, but we found out that our cutter was out of calibration and it cut the vinyls too long. And after we had installed it, we tried to work around the excess length, and it just didn't work. And at the end of the day, we ripped it all back off to start over with. Now, we used up the vinyl we had, so Mike had to order some new vinyl. The following week, vinyl hadn't come in yet, so we moved off to do something else, and we decided that we would run our wires for our lighting. Well, unfortunately, the first light I tried to install, the tool that installs the wire into the light, broke. So we couldn't do that. Mike ordered 10 more of them, so we've got plenty now to continue working with, and that's where we're going to start this week. But that will be in the following video. So anyway, we putzed around, played around with his new digital pinball machine a little bit and stuff like that, but we didn't really accomplish anything, so there's no real video to show for that week either. So that's it. Please enjoy this video, and another video will be coming out shortly from 3 weeks in the future. So thanks a lot. Bye. Well, hello there. Monday again. Mike and I are going to be back down at the shop working again today. You can see in the back there we got the box that we need to finish the vinyl on. And over here you can see that Mike has finished the base coat on the back box, so we can do the vinyl on that. As I promised last week, I'm not going to film any more vinyl work. It's just rinse repeat of what we've done before. But we'll bring you back when we have it all together. But let me flip the camera around and show you a few other things that we also want to work on today. So while I start working on the vinyl, Mike is going to start populating the bottom side of this board, moving the all the mechanical stuff from the old Playboy over to this table. And there's a few things we have to do, like this has a little round hole on it, and the Bally feeders use a rectangular hole, so we're going to have to mark that out and probably cut it out with a jigsaw. There's a few other things that need to be slightly modified on the table, but one of the things we want to do is mount the screen on here, and I brought the Latte Panda and screen down with me so we can mount that, so we make sure that all the stuff that we mount on won't interfere with anything. And so Mike is going to be getting on with that while I'm doing the vinyl. There's another thing I brought along. I'll show you that. It's in the other room. So that thing on the right there is the Latte Panda. That's our little Windows 10 microprocessor that's going to be driving our display, and a 5-volt power supply, or maybe a 12-volt power supply, I forget, but a power supply that provides power to that. And then over here I have a little cutout of a apron that's going to go on this wall art. Now this is just a template. We don't want to use real metal aprons on it. We're going to cut our own out of wood, paint it up, or put vinyl over it. And so I printed this out on my printer at home, and we're going to cut that out, bend it up, and see if it fits okay. And if it is, then we'll transfer that to wood. So I just heard Mike come in, so I think we're going to get started, and I'll stop along the way and show you things that we're doing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we've had this mounted in here before. You can see the little clips. These were the original clips that held it in its original bezel. So we're just going to put 4 of them in, 2 over here, 2 over here. And then after that gets mounted, we're just going to lay this back on top of it like that and screw 4 screws in the holes in the corner, and that'll protect the bottom and give us a place to connect our connectors to back on the other side back there. Anyway, and it'll all be protected and out of the way. So Mike is going to be working on that, and while he's doing that, I'm going to go into the other room and work on the machine in there. And by the way, I want to mention something. If you guys have noticed, some of my scenes in some of my videos have been cut a little short and seem kind of odd. For some reason, the video files coming off of my phone, the last little bit of audio hasn't been coming off of it. So I'm going to try and remember to let the film run for a few seconds after I'm finished with what I'm filming, just to give it a little buffer space. But if I forget and I get it cut off, you know what happened. So a quick little handheld here just to show you what Mike's up to. He laid a regular Bally table on top of this with it's face up, so to protect the face we got a piece of paper stuck in there, and he has marked all of the points where we need to drill holes and cut, and then we're going to either drill or mark from this side, and then we're going to flip it over and jigsaw cut it from the other side to try and keep the top surface of this playfield as smooth and clean as possible. So I just wanted to show you that. How does it fit on this side? On this side, they've actually got a little more cut away than they need, right?
Yeah, but I don't think we need to do anything with these.
No, I don't know. That's all under the skirt. So
and
that's
this
not
neither. So just these 4 holes here.
Yeah, this lines up perfectly, so the ball ought to come out of the chute just fine. Yeah, that'll be fine. So it looks good. So Mike has got all of the holes marked. The little spots here, there, and in the corners are going to be drilled out with a drill. Now we decided we're not going to cut this big hole. It's really not needed. So he's going to mark another slot here. All that is some relief so that the screws on the mechanism that knocks the ball out can go past the end of the table, and it certainly doesn't need a hole that big. And we don't have a bit that big here to work with, so we're going to work with a couple little bits in the jigsaw to make that go. In a moment, he's going to get out his drill and start drilling, and I'll show you a little bit of that. How much did you pay for this playfield, Mike?
Too much.
Does it hurt to drill into something that expensive?
No, because I know the result's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. Plus, it's all under the skirt anyway, so even if you mess it up, nobody will ever know but you.
Starts grabbing.
Looks like I took it pretty good.
Careful hands.
Well, that's a Brad Point bit too, and that helps a lot.
Again, this is just a slot for the clearance.
Right.
So it's not mandatory that it be that precise.
So Mike just noticed something. here are the 4 holes that we just drilled in there, and we're going to cut out for the ball to drop into. But here's the hole that was in the original table. So we're going to have to plug this hole up so that when the ball drains, it can drain across this and down into this hole so it can be plunged out. So we're probably going to 3D print a black plug with a flange on the bottom that we can screw in that ball can roll over. So anyway, that's the plan for now. If that doesn't work, we'll figure out something else.
Dead battery. And that's it.
Okay, rinse and repeat on the other ones.
Let's see if these holes line up with the screws.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Plenty of adjustment.
Hey, I have come to the end of another workday today. Mike has been busy mounting hardware on here. Turns out we have another hole that we have to build a plug for down here to hold that rail. So Mike's going to take measurements of that, give it to me. I'll 3D print them and we'll install them next time. We are not done with the vinyl, but I'll show you what we got accomplished today. This side of the box is completely done. We used the new technique with the girl, so there's nothing showing through her hair or the gloves. And we changed the glove design a little bit so you can see her back arm. And we think that looks really good. We will accomplish that on the other side, but we did not have time to do the front of the box. It is still white, or the back box over there. So those are going to have to wait till next time. Vinyl took a lot longer than it should have today. I'd like to say I had 1 or 2 problems, but it was more like 8 or 10. Anyway, we got there. It was a good, productive day. The box I still think looks awesome. So that's going to do it for this week, and we'll see you again next week. So one other thing I wanted to show you, we did get the monitor mounted underneath. We had to do a little bit of cutting to get the brackets to have clearance, and we had to move one of the brackets because of some controls down here. There used to be a bracket here. We moved it onto the side. But anyway, that is permanently mounted on the bottom now, and all we have to do is put the plastic on the top, but that attaches from the top. So we're done with that. So with that, say goodbye, Mike.
See you later.
And we will see you next week. Well, hello there. It is Monday again. Mike has bought yet another power tool to help out in the shop. He got a little wire wheel, buffing wheel combo thing that he's hooked up on what we're now calling our machinist workbench. You can see the grinder is back on the other corner, and then our lathe is setting in the better part of the table, and we have a little vise on there. So we got a nice little workstation area here that we can work on metal and stuff. So we were here last week, and I started to film a video, and let's just say that we did not accomplish anything, and so there is no video to show you guys from last week. I will tell you a little bit about what we did, and then we're going to play around a little bit with trying to fix that today, but we're going to move into a different area. So last week we cut vinyl to go on the back box here. Now the first thing we noticed is when we got done was that it was too long. Probably about a ½ inch too long, which really didn't look good, but we went ahead and tried to install it anyway. And then toward the end, we mucked up and messed up a placement and had to peel some of the vinyl off. And Mike just decided that he did not like the look of it, so we ripped it all off and we're back to where we started from. He ordered some more vinyl. We're waiting for that to come in. I'm probably going to play around with trying to calibrate the cutter because, yes, there is a calibration that we should have run before we started cutting vinyl and didn't. And so we'll do that now. And we're just going to use paper and the pin attachment for the plotter to do the calibration with. And once we know that it's calibrated, then we can use it next week to actually cut out the vinyl when the new vinyl comes in. So what we're going to be working on this week is the actual electronics of the machine. You can see that Mike has gotten most of the displays installed, but there's a few of them down here at the end where he ran out. I have manufactured some more. They're in this bag. So we're going to stick those on, and then we're going to run the wiring that connects them all together. Mike right now is cleaning up the metal pieces on the table here, which is mostly all put together, and all of the LEDs are installed on the bottom of that. So the only LEDs left to install here are the ring lights. So we can also do that today maybe. And then we can connect all the wires on the bottom side. So that's what's on the plate for us to do today. I'm going to start by going in and playing around with the calibration of the cutter. That should only take a few minutes, he said out loud. And once I get done with that, then we will get in here and start doing the wiring. Okay, I am loading up the Vinyl Cut Master, and what I'm going to try to do here is calibrate the cutter. You can see we have paper installed in the cutter and a ballpoint pen attachment which comes with the cutter. And so as soon as this gets done loading, I've never done this before. I watched a video on how it was done. So I'm going to try to figure out how to do this calibration. Okay, I've been hunting around. It took me a second to find it, so let me see if I can get back to where I was. The first thing you have to do is open the vinyl spooler, and on the menu for that there's a calibration menu, and you can say show calibration tool. So we want to run the cutter scale, so I click on that. It asks you to put in the size of a test box you want to cut out that you're going to measure. So I'm going to say 15 inches by 15 inches, and I'll say run the cut test. And it draws a box 15 inches by 15 inches. Okay, so now I am going to pull this out, and I'm going to get a tape measure, and I'm going to measure that to see what size it actually is. And I'm going to write that size into this length and width and hit that update button, and that should tell it that what it just did cut a box of that size. So I'll be back in a moment after I find myself a tape measure. Okay, the test box, this is a little difficult to show. Printed out, I measured it across the bottom. It's 15 1/4 inches, and the length is 15, and I think it was 5/16 or 0.3125. So I'm going to enter those values in, and then we're going to run the cut again. So the length was 0.25. I'm sorry, the width was 0.25, and the length was 3125. And I'll hit update. And And I'm going to cutter scale again, and I'm going to tell it 15 by 15 again, and I'm going to say cut. Okay, I'm going to take that over and measure it and see how it comes out. Well, I actually can't show you guys. See, I'm still recording. Yep. I actually can't show you guys, but I just measured that, and as close as I can measure with a steel measuring tape, that is 15 inches by 15 inches exactly. So I think this calibration worked, but I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to pop out of this calibration mode. I'm going to go back to a regular thing, and I'm just going to draw a box of a certain size, and then I'm going to cut that out and see if that also came out to the size it was supposed to. Okay, there is probably some way to put in the size of the box that I'm drawing here, but I don't know how it is. It does tell you, like if I click on it to edit it, it tells me down at the bottom how big the box is. Right down here, it's telling me, you know, like I can move it to there and I can drag it, but I don't know how to type in the number. I'll have to research that. So I'm going to try to get it as close to 20 inches as I can here. Okay, so I got that 20 inches exactly. Now let me make the top 20 inches also. It would be a lot better if I could just type it in, but I just don't know how to do that. Okay, I got 21.995. I think that's close enough for me. So let me go to the cut routine and hit cut now. Okay, I am going to go measure that, and if that is 20 inches by 20 inches, I'm going to call this done. So I obviously made a mistake because the box is 20 by 22.008 inches. Not sure how that happened. However, and that's exactly what I measured, 20 by 22 and a smidge. So I am happy that we now have this thing calibrated. I'll probably leave the paper installed on here since we're not going to be cutting this week. And next week when we come back to cut, I will run one more test just to make sure it's good. Then I'll take the paper off and put the vinyl on. So that's going to end the cutter stuff for today. Let's move into the other room and start playing around with wiring up some lights.